Well, g'day Eric. Welcome to Cologne in Panama. You've already done leg one of the MGR. How do you feel?
I feel pretty good. I was fairly tired when I arrived here.
Yeah.
Had a bit of a swollen left leg, but that's slowly coming good.
Yeah.
I suppose after the qualifier and then not much time to recover, 3 days after that 25-day stint, and then doing leg one, it's taken a bit out of me.
Yeah.
For an old bloke. So anyway,
Young
I've
fella.
bounced back and here I am.
Yeah. Okay. Look, this is the first time we've had a chance to have a bit of a chat on many things, and a lot of people, will know and remember the epic challenge you had sailing to Antigua, which was just nuts. 3 weeks of close windward work in 25, 35 knots. 3-4 metre seas, just crazy. But you made it, and then you had 3-day turnaround. For the start?
3-day turnaround.
Yeah,
which wasn't much time.
No. Absolutely. Yeah.
Just enough time to catch up with Brenda, the wife, and restock the boat and gave her my wits, get a bit of energy back, and so far so good.
So let's just go back a bit. You're an Aussie. You sound like an Aussie farmer. You got the quintessential Aussie accent, not like John or Popeye or anything like that. Yeah. It's very distinct Aussie accent.
People say that.
Oh yeah, you're there.
Yeah, very distinct accent.
So where was home? Where you brought up? What got you into sailing?
Well, I was brought up on the eastern side of Melbourne, a little town called Croydon. So that was a town that was predominantly orchards back when I was a kid. So I suppose it was farmland. Brenda, she's from farm background, Irish.
Yeah.
But look, I'm just my father was English and mother was English. They come out here after the Second World War.
Yeah.
And they came out on the ship after the Second World War, and of course I was born in Australia.
Right.
So I've got a younger brother, 3 sisters. One was born in England, one of the sisters.
Yeah.
So I don't know where I picked up this Aussie accent.
No, it's a beauty, don't worry. It's an absolute classic, But anyway, so what got you into sailing? What's your sailing background? Because I know you did some epic voyages. You did the Melbourne-Osaka race and a few other ones.
Yes. Well, I started about 18. My brother and I, we bought a DJ dinghy and sort of had a bit of a passion for sailing back then. And we took it down to Portsea, back beach for the first stint, and we put it in the surf, and that was an interesting challenge, I can tell you. And then from there we went down to Phillip Island and we started sailing in the quieter waters. Yeah. So that's how I started, and then I sort of didn't really sail for a long time till about 30. Yeah. And then I started getting involved in trailer sailors. Yeah. So I sailed the Gippsland Lakes a lot. Yeah. Had a little 20-foot Sunbird. It was called a Sunmaid, sorry. That was called Sunseeker.
Jeepers, I remember them.
Yeah, great little boat.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I remember back then, actually, I always thought, gee, these little boats are so robust. I could pin the keel and sail it around the world. But like all of us, you get.
I used to think the same for remember the Austral 20s? Austral 20s, you remember them?
Yeah, they were
the same thing. You could bloody sail that anywhere.
Yeah. Of course, I got married and had children, and then we got into business, so time passes, you haven't got the time or the money. And that's probably why, this race now, like being retired, it's so, suits me down the line. Yeah. So, But, like from trailer sales and that, I joined Hobson's Bay Yacht Club in Williamstown, and I sailed out of there for 15 years. Yeah. So, like a lot of racing, 3 days a week, and then offshore stuff as well. So we campaigned pretty much all the ORCV series. Yeah. Sydney Hobarts, and then Melbourne to Vanuatu, and of course the Melbourne Osaka.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for those that don't know the Melbourne Osaka, it's a 2-handed race from Melbourne in Victoria all the way up to Japan in Osaka. Yeah, quite a because Dan did that as well. Holiday Dan.
Yes, Dan.
Melbourne Osaka.
I did it in 2013, and I think Dan did it in 18 from memory. 2018.
Okay, so then, and I know the story, you said you were reading about Dan building his boat. You think,
Yes.
shit, hang on, this looks like fun.
Yeah.
And it was sort of like, was it unfinished business? What was the trigger? Because you've done a lot of racing. Was it just the circumnavigation? That was the key? With the key attraction?
Well, being a carpenter background, I've always had a fascination of wanting to build a timber boat.
Yeah.
Never had the chance.
Yeah.
So that sort of really sparked me, the idea of buying the kit and building it.
Yeah.
And of course, when I started reading about the MGR, the time frame, I only had about 12 months left, and I thought, well, if I buy this kit, it's going to be really difficult to build it, complete it, get it to Lagos, and to do the whole thing. I thought it's going to be too much.
Yeah.
So everyone was saying in the family, said, oh, you can do it. And I said, oh, I don't know whether I can. I think it's just too big a ask. So then I thought, well, maybe there's one for sale. So that's when I started looking on the web, and like I said before, I thought I saw Michael Moyer's boat, Sunbear, and sitting there in the States, and I was lucky enough to buy it.
Yeah, so, perfect.
Yeah, so
nice boat to buy.
A great boat.
Yeah,
great boat. It's such a well built boat.
Yeah,
really is.
Yeah,
yeah.
So, I agree.
So that's how that came about.
Okay, so then you had a whole new learning curve. Having arrived in Antigua, waited for 3 days, you then had to work out how to sail downwind.
Yes.
You had nothing at all before.
Yeah, that's right.
How many days was that feeder? How long? 23 days out? You're coming from Florida down to
25.
25 days, and no downwind work at all.
I had one day. The first day I had a bit of reaching.
Yeah.
So I popped up the A5 first, and then I tried the A7, and I put the A3 up for a while.
Yeah. Okay. So you had to learn how to sail downwind. You did pretty well, but I know that would have been a challenge. So
yeah, I was all over the shop at the start, but I sort of settled into it, and as you probably saw, I nearly ran aground on the reef. Had a head sail problem at the start. I thought I was all organised until I unfurled the head sail. I was trying to put myself into a better position for the kite start, and then I realised the head sail had jumped out of the furling track, so I headed off to windward to try and fix it, and then of course nearly ran aground. So I was pretty late over the line.
Yeah.
The first 30 hours I didn't run any A3s or any big kites, so I really just settled into it.
Yeah.
By the time I was sort of mid-fleet, I knew I was about 20 miles behind the next group, and I thought, well, I'm going to be struggling to catch these guys unless I start really pushing hard. So I decided to just settle into that mid-fleet.
Yeah.
I was happy with that.
Yep.
For that leg.
Yep.
And I learned heaps. Absolutely heaps.
That's true. So everyone was challenged a bit with the wind and the currents and the sea state in this one. How would you define that trip for you? I mean, they're all still pretty quick, but what was your challenging moments on this first leg?
There was some pretty short, sharp, choppy seas at times, but where I was, sort of south of the Rum line, it was basically pretty good. I got driven fairly south at one stage towards Colombia, but I was watching the weather and it was going to change, which it did. So it turned out favourable. I jibed over it, and it pretty much took me all the way to the finish line. That jibe. So actually worked out all right. But no, not really too many challenging times.
Yeah.
The wind vane probably was the thing that challenged me the most, in that really light stuff. Yeah. Trying to hold it on course at the end there, it was quite frustrating. Because I didn't use the electric tiller pilot at all, which I've learnt now probably be an asset at times. Yeah. Because I got to a stage where that last 30 hours I wasn't sleeping at all. I was just absolutely wrecked. And of course we were in close contact to Bibby Cork, Jacob. So he was hot on the heels. So
the incentive to keep going, because that's the hardest thing about the wind vanes is that they're very easy to set up going to windward, but as soon as you go downwind, you've got to balance everything really carefully.
Yes, that was a real learning curve, Don.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've learned a lot, and it's like you can blame the wind vane, but most it's a bit like a tradie blaming his tools.
Yeah, no, you can't do it. Yeah,
it's
you gotta
more
learn to
like
fly
a
it.
sailor.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Learning the trick.
Yep.
Yeah.
So how do you find the domestic situation on board, living on board?
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Yeah, amazing little boat. Like they're quite workable. Little jet ball stove, like they're efficient,
Yep.
quick to cook. I've just got freeze dried food.
Yep.
So, you know, breakfast just a matter of tipping a bit of water in the satchels. So they're quite good.
Yep.
No, I find it quite an easy thing for one person
Yep.
to handle. I move if depending on I sort out my gear to balance the boat. Sometimes I'm on the starboard side sleeping or the port side.
Yep.
So I move things around a bit. But no, I think they're great. They're quite workable.
Yeah. So is there anything that, I mean, you didn't have time to change anything previously. Now that you've sailed these two legs, is there anything that you're thinking of changing or modifying or anything on the boat?
I would probably change the solar panel arrangement on the stern. I think the one on top of the cabin gets blanketed by the sail a bit. This leg it was okay, I had no problem with power.
Yeah.
But the first qualifier I had all sorts of trouble keeping power up.
Yeah.
So I was shutting things out, like the power down at night through the day to try and build the batteries up.
Yeah.
But so I'd probably change that to two panels on the stern, so you can adjust them into the sun.
Yeah.
Look, the hydro vanes are probably a really good conversion. They sort of prove me pretty well. But yeah, apart from that, it's fairly workable. Maybe the I've put some handholds, lines, spectra lines around the cabin, which Michael suggested, more handholds. That works good.
Yeah.
But look, apart from that, everything's working fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you've got freeze dried on board. What other food you got? Anything else? If you run out of water or something?
Fresh fruit. I take fresh food.
Yeah.
I put hydrolytes in my bottled water.
Yeah.
Just hydrolyte tablets each time I fill the bottle up.
Yep.
So I do that each day. But yes, biscuits, chocolates, all those sorts of things. I'm a bit of a sweet too. I run out of all the sweet things in the qualifier, so I had a real sugar hit when I got to Antigua.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah.
But yeah, I had plenty on board for this first leg.
Yep.
So
yeah, that's cool.
All was good, Don.
Yeah. Did you get much water down below this leg?
No.
Nope.
No,
Okay.
no water at all. But
Yeah.
it's one of the. I've had a lot of boats in my time, and a few of them have been, buckets with holes in it. So this one's been quite good.
Button up. Yep. That makes sense.
I checked the bilge yesterday actually, and it's just a bit of dampness, but
Yeah.
virtually no water.
Yep. So what about personal injury? You mentioned before, about the stress of that first leg, but any bangs or bruises getting thrown around or anything like that? Or?
Yeah, I whacked my left elbow, in that qualifier.
Yeah.
So I blew it up, a bit like bursitis. So that calmed down over this last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And then the last 30 hours out there, see, I sailed this race a bit different. I spent a lot of time just lying down and letting the boat steer itself and watching the numbers,
Yep.
the chart plotter.
Yep.
So, and then just adjusting things. So that's how I sailed it.
Yep.
Tried to keep to an average of 5 knots.
Yep.
So that was my ploy,
Target.
and
Yep.
it pretty well worked to what I wanted. So, but in doing that, I wasn't moving around much.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Yep.
the last 30 hours, I was on my feet steering the boat a lot because of the light conditions, and I stressed out this left leg,
Right.
and it swelled up,
Yeah.
my knee and the whole leg,
Yep.
which is a bit odd because normally I steer a lot
Yeah.
and I'm moving a lot, so it keeps me active.
Yep.
But so that was the difference between this leg and the qualifier.
Yeah.
I sailed it differently, so that's probably why my legs are swollen.
Yeah.
But it's coming down now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
That's cool.
yeah.
Okay. So, and what's the comms situation? What comms are you using to keep in touch with
I have a Iridium Go. It's just a standard one,
Yeah.
and the Extreme satellite phone in the dock station.
Yeah.
So it's got a hands-free setup.
Yeah.
The Iridium Go's linked up to Sale
Yep.
docs for
Yep.
rib files. That's working good.
Yep. Okay.
So I can get 3 days of ribs every day
Yeah.
updated, and they were pretty accurate.
Yep.
And then the iPhone's linked to the Iridium Go for email, text, that sort of thing.
Yep.
I'm trying, Brenda, my manager, she set up a Go fund to try and upgrade to the Iridium Go executives so that we can have WhatsApp going in the boat.
Yep.
And also Facebook and I think Windy, which would be an advantage.
Yep.
So hoping to have that. There's a couple for sale here, so maybe the next leg I've got.
There's a couple for sale here, is there?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Because some of the guys are going for the
Starlink. Yeah. Yeah.
and get rid of
Yeah.
the Iridium exec.
Yeah. Most big yachts are going Starlink now. Eh?
That's right.
Just like spot the boat that doesn't have Starlink.
Yep. So we've had a few people back home, family members and whatever, you chipped in a few dollars to the Go fund.
Yep.
So I've got a few bob there now, so maybe I can buy one of these second-hand executive Goes.
Yeah. Exactly. All right. So okay. So you've now finished leg one. We're all waiting to move the boats across the Pacific side of Panama, and then we're off.
Yeah.
It's a really strange leg, the next leg, because it could be anywhere from 38 days to 60 days. You know? It's really hard to pull it. Are you going to do a bit of routing, like make a bit of a plan before you go?
Yeah, well, I've been watching the weather over the last week,
Yeah.
and still watching, as we all do. And it will be interesting. It's at this stage, it's looking okay.
Yeah.
Looks like going actually south of the Galapagos, and curving around back up to the Marquise.
Yep.
But yeah, as you know, the shortest route's probably north of the Galapagos, and then So, and you got trade winds both sides, and you got the equatorial currents to contend with. So I suppose we'll just see what happens.
See what happens. Yeah.
Follow the Renard. He seems to be setting the pace.
Yeah, exactly. That's true. And so, what about water? How much water are you going to take, you reckon?
I'll probably take about 150 litres.
Yeah.
So I've got 100 litre tanks.
Yeah.
On the boat. I might just take an extra 50 litres.
Yeah.
Theoretically, 40 days at 2 litres. Well, there's your 100 litres.
Yeah.
And you could potentially be out there for that long.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So we've also got means of collecting water off the off the mast, off the sail if it rains.
Yep.
Which I'm sure we'll get some.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So what are you missing the most?
Oh, family, yeah. Miss my wife, grandkids.
Yeah.
Yeah, but look, I call them on the sat phone every day, just for a short time. I call Brenda and have a chat. It's good for her. It's good for me.
Yep.
But yeah, your family. Yeah, everybody misses their family. But
they coming into Fiji?
Yes, yeah, we've got quite a few people coming to Fiji, family members. So looking forward to that.
Another incentive to keep moving.
But we have got a big family here now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, everyone's really wonderful.
Yeah. That whole issue of everyone helping each other when they get around, it's quite intense.
Just fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool. All right, and so what's the I mean, obviously we're only one leg into it. It really seems to start to get serious when we head across the Pacific. Yes. What do you see as the biggest challenge for you to keep moving forward? You know what I mean? Like, where do you think is the real challenge?
Oh, I think just keeping my body together, being on the older side of the pack. I'm pretty fit, but I was starting to feel fairly weak after that last race. So just keeping my stamina up is going to be the key.
Yeah.
And keeping my body from falling to pieces. So if I can do that,
Okay.
I'll make it around the world, I think.
So seeing 70 as the new 35,
Yeah.
what would you say to someone else at 70 as the new 35 about doing something like this? You know, like because you're going to have a lot of people inspired by what you're doing.
Yeah, I'd say go for it. Look, you're never too old, and like you just have to be focused, and you can do anything if you try, and if you're focused enough and keep yourself in good order, that's the key. It can be done, so I'd say go for it.
So you must have had quite a few. No, was there a group of people that thought you were crazy? You know, like coming to do it because you've remember what I'd call mainstream sailing racing situation. You know, big boats around the Cairns, you know, club stuff, you know, offshore stuff, you know, Melbourne, Osaka, and all of a sudden it's like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You know, how big was that? Was that a lot of people or just some?
Oh no, just some people. Some people think it's madness because they just, I suppose, small boat. They think it's just undoable.
Yeah.
But there's a big majority of people are all for it too. They know it can be done, but maybe not for them.
Yeah.
It's a special group of person that takes on a race like this.
Yeah.
It's certainly not the norm. You know, not your average sailor. So you have to really want to do it.
So is it delivering what you always expected it would? You know, for you personally?
Yeah, 100% so far. We're only just starting, but it's just so cool being out there. I love it. I really do. Just the solitude and just being out there. Like some of the nights, you know, full moon's out and you got a spinnaker up and just 15 knots. You can get some beautiful nights.
Yeah.
And I've had a whale jump up beside me. Dolphins, you know, jumping out of the water 3 metres in the air. Things like that. You can't beat it.
Yeah.
So pretty special.
So do you have one of the things that always struck me when I sailed across the Atlantic was the boat always seems much bigger than it really is.
Yeah.
You know, you're in the cockpit looking forward, and you feel as if it's the same vision of something that's a 35-footer because everything's there, but it's just smaller.
Yeah.
And so the visual is the same, and you know, when you get cockpit's pretty big, reasonable enough, and I always felt the boat was so much bigger than what it really was.
For sure. Well, I sailed S80s for a while there, which, you know, one design yacht. They're an 8-metre yacht, so they're you know, quite a little bit bigger than the 580. And yet when you sit at the stern there on the helm of the 580, to me it feels bigger than an S80 sometimes.
Yeah, it's weird,
yet it's not, so it's really weird.
Yep. No, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
It's a classic. All right. Anything you want to pass on to your followers? Anything you want to say to following fans?
I'd like to thank my sponsors. Third Generation Doors. They've helped me out with, which is my stepson's business. Really appreciate his help. Of course, my family and all our other followers that are contributed to the Go Fund. And of course you too, Don, McIntyre Adventures, for making this all happen.
No, we're having as much fun as you are, so don't worry about
that. So,
Thanks.
Thanks to everybody.
Yeah, cool. All right. Well, that's all good. We'll carry on regardless and get everything ready to move. Your boat's in the background. There's your boat right there.
Yeah, sure
the
is.
Marsh is down, ready to go. We're just fixing up the trailers and hopefully we start moving them tomorrow.
Yeah,
so
that's it.
It'll be a bit of fun. Okay.
No
Thanks
worries.
very much, Eric.
Okay, thanks,
good stuff.
Don.
See you, mate.